Hey everyone, this is Shepard with another playthrough on Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, this time with the longsword. I know there's been a lot of talk about longswords in me in the past, and I guess I'll clear the air a little bit. I guess I've never really disliked the weapon. I think the biggest hardship I've had with it, though, was in playing online, especially when Shy first came out. Being in a group with 3 other longsword users would be a little frustrating unless you had a ranged weapon, because everybody would essentially be spamming the longsword spirit combo more or less nonstop. That being said, things are a bit better now. Of course, it's no longer in unlimited use. As you charge up the gauge, as you do the spirit combo, the gauge will go down, so you really can't do it over and over and over again. You kind of have to use it, charge, use it, charge, use it, charge. And so there's a lot more strategy to it. It's no longer a boring weapon, because you're going to have a lot more situations where you're going to be doing different types of attacks depending on exactly where you want to place yourself and position yourself in relation to the monster. Most interesting thing is it now kind of has a upward thrusting attack right after you do a roll, kind of similar to the way the switch axe works. The switch axe can kind of get a bit of a upward swing, especially with the actual blade form. Basic strategy is not all that different, though, in that you're more or less trying to get yourself to red gauge as quickly as possible. Red gauge seems to last quite a bit longer now, especially than in 3U, which is a good thing. You know, you basically want that to be the state you're in all the time. And so, you know, even if it goes away, even if you've got a good 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes out of it, that was well worth it enough, because you'll probably only need to get into it 2 or 3 times anyways, unless of course you die horribly. Comparing this to the sword and shield strategy, it's a little bit similar, except I'm not going to get quite as precise on what leg I'm hitting. It's just way too hard at the longsword to be just too precise. The main goal is just to get out as many attacks as possible, keep myself in the red gauge as long as possible, etc., etc. It is nice, though, in that, you know, you will get yourself some decent amount of verticality. I mean, it's still not as perfect as some other weapons like the switch axe or greatsword or anything like that, but if he ever flies up in the air, it's not completely gimped, unlike the sword and shield, in which you're just kind of flailing sadly at him. And of course, when he's shooting out his fireballs like that, if you are fully charged, that's the time to try and get off another full spirit combo. See, that would have been a fine time to go out full out on his head, but of course now I'm in a little bit of a problem. My sharpness has gone down to yellow. Of course, you get built-in ESP with the Spirit Slash. Also, you get a certain amount of wind resistance as well, which comes in a lot of handy. Again, I think I said before, my most hated attack of his isn't even a super damaging one. It's just whenever he flaps up in the air, he'll knock you back. And then his default attack is just to shoot you with some of his virus breath. And there's something about it just like so rude. It's like, come on, dude, like... See, he wanted to do it. He was thinking of doing it, but he couldn't do it. Kind of like the sword and shield. I mean, you're basically in trip heaven with the longsword. You're pretty much always going to be hitting at least one or the other legs. Of course, when you get the opportunity to go for the head, there's really no reason why not to. But so far I'm pretty happy. I mean, I got beat up a little bit over the course of about 30 seconds there, but I basically never stopped attacking. So I think I'm at a pretty good pace right now in terms of getting towards that 10-minute mark. It's the baseline goal. I think it's a pretty decent goal. About 10 minutes. Means you probably know the weapon well enough. Interestingly enough, I got a chance to play this with the multiplayer component, and the monster's a lot... I would say the monster's a lot different, but the monster certainly has a lot more life. So I think they scaled it actually off of 4 people, because with just me and one other person, it actually was taking us quite a while to take the monster down. It's only until we had 4 people that it actually seemed like we're going to be able to kill anything in any sort of reasonable amount of time. But of course, it's just a demo, you know. I mean, you don't have any active elements or statuses or anything like that, so the weapons are a little bit weaker than they would normally be. And I wish I had an exact determination of how much damage the stabbing does. It does do a good amount of damage, so it's not just a matter of getting this trip off here and breaking the back. It does a decent amount of true damage. Many times you'll find that right after you've done that, one poke to the monster will end up killing them, because they can't actually die during that animation. So you'll do a ton of damage with the ride, and then they're like, okay, I've got 1 life left, just hit me once, and that'll be all you'll need to do. You'll notice I did a bit of a sweep attack there, kind of a, I mean, that was in Tri-Ultimate as well, but it's certainly something to keep in mind if you haven't used the longsword much. That's a great way to get your spirit combo out a lot faster. So it's like a great setup for the combo as well, because not only is it faster, but the sweep attack has one of the greatest spirit building attacks that you have. So rather than just having to do the normal combo over and over again, you can just do the spirit combo, or the charge slash, like 2 or 3 times, and it'll be almost full. Okay, I almost got... I almost whiffed that. Thankfully I didn't. Quick note about the head. There are actually 2 breaks on those horns. The second break is actually a lot harder to see than the first break. You just gotta be brave. There you go. Brave just like that. There's no way to knock him out of that. I mean, I think he will eventually maybe go out of it on his own, but the main thing is you need to keep hitting the head to get him out of that rage ability. It's a good idea too, because of course, you know, he's moving around a lot more, he's doing a lot more damage. It just makes sense. I'm just gonna try and top off my gauge there. That was a good idea. Okay, right on track still. Seems a lot easier. It's certainly a lot more convenient than the Sword and Shield run I did. Sword and Shield run, you just have to be constantly working hard. Okay, looks like I got in just a little bit too early, but not really a big deal. I mean, I'll just fight him anyways. And whether something's sleeping, to sleep bomb them or trap them, I mean, if you're not really in a position where you're having a hard time actually fighting the monster, you know, you're constantly getting decent hits off on more damaged parts of the body, you don't have to feel like, you know, it's necessary to put them in a trap. I mean, at this point, he's pretty much figured out. He's tripping all the time. He's tired. So, why wait? I mean, every second is precious. Again, I'm feeling like it's getting pretty close. Like one more combo? 2 more combos? I just love that. I love that trip. So, you'll notice, I mean, it's not just the back legs that cause a trip, it's the front legs too. So don't feel like it's just the back legs you gotta hit him with. Actually, a really interesting video I saw. Omnitoad sent it to me. Somebody just doing an Adrenaline +2 run against Gorvagala with a great sword, and they just constantly did the level 3 charge to the front claw, and it was so sad because he just kept falling over. And so that was not the great sword, the long sword. Although, oddly enough, the very first Monster Hunter, there was a great sword that looked like a long sword. They didn't have long swords in Monster Hunter, though. Not until 2? Dose. So that's it for now. I will try and get another video out tomorrow. Might be hard. Might be hard for tomorrow, but certainly by Friday shouldn't be a problem. I did a little bit of practice with the dual swords. I'm going to have to try harder and just get good or something to beat the 10-minute mark. That was a bit of a challenge. Felt a lot like Sword and Shield with the strategy, but it is what it is. Alright, so until next time, this is Shepard. Thanks for watching, good luck, and have a good hunt.